Hello, this is Brian Purdy with the Florida Aviation Network, here day 3 of the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo 2024 at the Future in Flight Plaza and the Innovation Showcase. Today we're visiting with Mr. Hugh MacDonald, the owner of Precision Agricultural Services, and we're going to find out how precise they can be. Good morning, Hugh.
Hey, Brian. Good morning. How are you?
I am great. How are you enjoying your time here at Sun and Fun so far?
Absolutely wonderful. One of the best events in the world.
Oh, have you been to Sun and Fun before?
Absolutely. I try to come every year.
Oh, great. So we're going to talk about your company. Give us a quick rundown, and then we'll go into detail as you see fit.
Sure. Okay. So I've been involved in aviation most of my life. Never had the opportunity to have an aviation business. And one of the things that is passionate about my life is agriculture. So I've spent a lot of time farming, growing up on a farm. So I wanted to have a company that focused on agriculture, and also my passionate hobby is aviation. So I kind of started looking a long time ago at the UAV business, and I decided that I would try to pursue that and utilize it somehow, shape, or fashion in agriculture. At the time, they were using UAVs primarily for imaging purposes, and so I looked at that pretty hard, and that just didn't really do it for me. And then about 10 years ago, I started looking at UAVs for doing various operations such as spraying and spreading of products that help farmers grow their crops. So as a result of that, I decided to go ahead and start a business utilizing the equipment, and that's what we have today. It's Precision Agricultural Services. We are a Part 137 aerial applicator with UAVs.
137, that's crop dusting?
That is crop dusting. We do the same thing that the big guys do. We just can't cover the ground that they cover, and we specialize in doing areas that they can't get to. We can do irregular shaped fields. We can do areas where maybe there's a lot of obstacles around that we have to navigate and do a little. We can actually navigate those a little better than they can. One of the other things that we do is, and this is kind of a new trend, these existing manned aviators, they have to let down really soon when they come into a field and pull up really late when they're going out of a field. So one of the things that the drones can do is it can go ahead of the manned aviators, and it can ring the field, creating a larger buffer, making a safer environment for them.
And that's what Florida Aviation is all about, is the safety. And I'm glad I was going to ask about that, because it's like, flying is difficult. This is like, okay, I'm sitting on the ground. The equipment may be expensive, but I'm not going to die if it hits the wire.
That's correct.
Now, the equipment, is this something you developed, or was somebody else and you just purchased it?
No, I have purchased all my equipment. We utilize DJI products. They are pretty well known throughout the world as far as their quality, and they put a lot of research and effort into developing a product that really works very well.
And so you said you started doing this and getting involved in this. Have you been 10 years doing this particular stuff?
So I started investigating it 10 years ago, and kind of kept myself in the loop, going to trade shows, talking to a lot of people that were doing it, and just educating myself and keeping up with the technology. And approximately 6 months ago, we started actually operating as a 137.
Okay, great. So are you part of a larger group? So somebody from Missouri, like me, sees your operation here, say, how do I find this up in Missouri?
So 137 drone applicators are all over the country. The last I heard, there was 800 to 1,000 of us. I'm not sure exactly on the numbers, but I'm also hearing that it's growing at a pretty rapid rate. So you can pretty much find a UAV applicator in close proximity to wherever you're at in the U.S. right now.
So have they got to like a trade association where they can help each other?
So there are some efforts being made to develop some associations to kind of bring us all together, primarily under the auspices of safety. And so I am aware of those. I personally am a member of the NAAA, which is the National Association of Agricultural Aviation, and they are beginning to adopt UAVs into their program, and we're hoping that they'll embrace it a little more downstream.
That sounds great. Since we're sort of dealing with wind today, what kind of wind restrictions do the UAV applications have? May well just be on the chemical base. Okay, it has to be a settled wind. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So wind is a major factor. The number one issue with any aerial application is drift. Even more so when you're spraying products like herbicides and that kind of thing. But we have to be very mindful of the weather and wind. There's usually small windows throughout the day that we can operate, especially here in Florida where we typically have a lot of wind during the day.
I'm guessing at some point you say you can vary the elevation over the crop, and I don't know, can you vary the dispersal while in flight?
So actually, it's a very dynamic process. We're paying attention to what our swath is doing, and we can raise and lower the aircraft as we need to. So that's an important factor when you're doing flight planning, is trying to establish what your spray pattern looks like and trying to be as uniform as possible.
Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of your equipment.
Sure.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, this and everything you work with, you put all in the van at one time and just show up and everything's there?
Yeah, Brian, we have a couple of different ways that we operate. This van is probably one of our primary devices that we use. I'll open up the door here and kind of show you inside of it. We carry in the van multiple machines depending upon what we're doing. We have tools in the toolbox. We keep all of our batteries and all of our controllers for flight inside the van. And it just makes it a very nice uniform type package. This van is it's a Mercedes Sprinter. It's all-wheel drive, and the reason for that is because a lot of the areas that we go and applicate in, we have to have four-wheel drive in order to be able to get to the spots. Sometimes we're going through creeks and real sandy conditions here in Florida, so we got to be able to position the van where we're actually applicating at. So we have on top of the van, we have a nice big rack that we typically stand on to operate on. We can land on it if we have to, especially if it's a sandy condition and we don't want to blow a bunch of sand up and whatnot. But we have an awning to kind of help us keep the sun off of us and whatnot. Inside the van here, we have a couple of machines. This machine over here is our T40. That machine is very well suited for large open areas, doing a very good job at that. And then here, this is our little guy. This is our T10. Our T10 is very handy for doing small jobs, and it's very versatile and lightweight, easy to handle. One person can handle it very well. It takes two people to handle the T40.
As far as picking it up?
As far as picking it up, it's pretty stout. Yeah.
Now, I noticed you can see cameras on this side. Are there cameras all around, or a 360 camera to help keep spatial awareness from the operator's point of view?
Yes, absolutely. Cameras are an integral part of each one of these drones, not only for the operator, the pilot, to be able to have a perspective of where the drone is and what it's approaching, especially in obstacles and that kind of thing. But it also uses a technology that allows it to sense distances away from objects in the ground, and all that relays back to the controller. And most of these the newer drones have a pretty good obstacle avoidance program built into them using AI, so they actually can determine how to navigate around a particular obstacle without the pilot's input, which is pretty handy a lot of times. So yeah, that's pretty much the inside of this area. If we step around back, I'll show you we call it the business end of things. and we like to keep things very simple. There's a lot of elaborate setups out there that, in our opinion, tend to have more issues with breakdowns and problems and that kind of thing. But what we carry on this van is we carry 100 gallons of fresh water, and we have another 100-gallon tank that goes into the front compartment, so we can actually carry up to 200 gallons total fresh water for what we do. And we have what we call a hot tank or a mixed tank. It's very simple. It's a total drain tank. Everything comes out the bottom of it. And we have agitation in there. And all of this is operated off a 12 volt, which makes it very handy. We're not having to have a generator or anything running. So a lot of times if we go do a small job, we can actually do it all on 12 volt. We don't even have to fire up the big guy up here. If it's a bigger job and we've got to charge batteries, then we can fire up this big guy right here, and we hook up our batteries to this charger actually up here, and this is a cooling station that actually keeps the batteries cool as they charge.
So those are extra batteries for the drones themselves in there.
That's correct. We run 4 batteries in our operation, and the reason for that is it provides a smoother, more efficient program.
So the battery for the pump, do you attach it so it's charging when you're driving?
That is something that we can do, but we don't currently, because this battery is a deep cycle battery, and the amount of energy that we need to use this pump intervally, it doesn't deplete it. We can go a couple of days without having to charge that battery. Yeah, and we keep it back in the shop when we're not using it. We keep it on a charger ready to go. So anyway, we push everything out to the drone, with a simple hose. Yeah, so it's pretty simple.
Come out, you've already put the product that you're going to spray already into the tank here.
Yeah.
And then, depending upon how large the area you're covering, do you have a trailer that has more product, and you just go to the farmer and say, we need more water?
Yeah, the farmer in our case, the farmers provide all the chemicals that we need. And we just provide the fresh water. And the reason for that is because I happen to have a pretty good well at my house, and I can get some pretty solid 6.8 pH water, which is a really good water for spraying. And but if we do have to modify the pH, we can do that as well in this tank. So all the chemistry takes place in this tank. So our system is pretty simple. We put fresh water, clean water in here. We add the chemicals or the components, whatever the mix is, in here. Inside there's jets that actually circulate and mix. And then when it comes out of this tank, it goes right into the drone and it's ready to be applied.
And then that way you make sure you got the right concentration.
Absolutely, yeah, that's so important in what we do.
Yeah, trying to do it that otherwise, it's got to vary as you go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We are bound by federal law to adhere to the label on every one of the chemicals that we use. So yeah, it's very important that we're very precise on our mixing and our application rates.
So I guess it all depends on the chemical. You've got the personal protective equipment for the chemicals.
Yeah.
And there's some things, this is fertilizer and it's a week late, we don't need to wear gloves or goggles or stuff.
Well, yeah, safety is number one in this business because some of the things that we do work with mostly are not that harsh of a product, but there are those that we want to be very careful with and make sure that we keep ourselves safe. That lets me segue into another important point about UAV aviation. One of the things that we do is we help alleviate the operator or the applicator from actually being in the environment where the product is being dispersed. So that's a big deal because if that operator is not properly suited up with PPE, then they can get exposed, and that's not good. So by having the drone doing the application out and away from us, there's not that much chance of exposure. Now, we still have to be mindful when the drone is coming in close proximity of where we're based at, but that's a whole another story than actually being there with the drone as it's actually applying the product. We use the wind to our favor always. Yeah. So that's pretty much the business end of the van. And we'll step over here and I'll show you the trailer that we use. This trailer is a vehicle that we use for much larger projects. We typically try to stay in the 100-acre realm with the van, below 100 acres. But with the trailer here, we can step that up to whatever we need to. And the reason why is because we have such a large source of water that we carry with us. You know, one of the advantages of what we do over folks that use ground application stuff is if they don't have water immediately available to them in the field, they have to ferry or go. So that's a very time-consuming process. With us and the way we operate and the low volumes that we go in at, we have a 500-gallon tank there that will pretty much supply water for us for a very large amount of land and application. Now, of course, that's pending on the rate that we actually go in on. But, you know, we're doing anything from 2 to 10 gallons per acre, depending on what the crop is. So we got quite a bit of capacity on this trailer. It's a simple equipment trailer is what it's called, but what we did is we had a very talented metal fabricator named Corey Devane actually build the deck up top there, and that deck does several things. One, it provides a viewing point, a perspective that we can see up and above a lot of things, and it allows us to have a good 360 view of the area for safety's sake or just for general operation purposes. It also provides an area for us to land in inhospitable terrain. And again, I mentioned that earlier. Sand, very high brush or weeds where we pull into. So it's really handy to have.
And even some shelter if it gets hailing or something.
Absolutely, yeah. That's it is really nice to have that shelter there as well. We also keep on this trailer another generator that we can continuously charge our batteries. That's one thing about the drone. People don't quite understand how we can do what we do on electrical power. Really and truthfully, it's not solely electrical power. It comes from diesel, generated by a generator, and that battery is just a means of transferring that energy to the drone. So what we do is we take and we have 4 batteries, and we constantly have batteries in switching out. So
rotation.
Yeah, in rotation, yeah. And that allows us that when we come in to fill the tank up, we just drop a fresh battery in there, and then we're good to go. We got plenty of battery to go do the application part and plenty of battery to get back.
Okay, so the batteries, how long do they last on the drones?
So if we're running at a full load, and we're probably seeing 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so are there batteries for running the props and another battery for running the pump for the dispersal?
No, the one battery is the sole source of energy for the drone, and it provides the power for the pump, provides the power for the avionics, and it provides the power for propulsion.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Wow. And
So
a motorcycle to get around too.
Yeah, so everybody asks me, well, what's the motorcycle for? Well, we use a combination of the motorcycle and a UTV side by side. But a lot of times we'll go and do a property that we don't have time to map it and process the images and that kind of thing. So we'll do the whole layout of the field manually, and we use the bike to get around the field to identify obstacles and corners of the property and whatever else we need to identify with. It's very handy to have.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
So
sounds like a very fun day out besides.
yeah.
Nice to get paid for things you can enjoy.
Yeah.
So, okay. Is there anything on the other side of the trailer we want to see?
I can show you the back part of it. Just like in the van, we have what's called a hot tank or a mixing tank. So we provide fresh water, clean water out of the nurse tank, and it goes into the mixing tank. And again, we run on 12 volt, pushing it out to our drones. And this is a little bigger mixing tank, kind of proportionally for the nurse tank.
So I'm guessing this is just to get any larger sediments or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes we use different chemicals that have to dissolve in the fluid, and they don't all dissolve all the time. So what this does is this is a trap to catch any larger droplets. It's very important because on the drones themselves, as I'll show you around the corner here, they actually have a very fine screen in them that we don't want it to get clogged up. But around on this side, just a simple transfer pump that we use to transfer the water out of the nurse tank into the larger tank, and then this pump is solely dedicated to mixing. So it's a circulation pump, and again inside the tank we have circulation nozzles and jets, and agitates the solution and keeps everything in suspension, which is very important. So
I'm assuming, okay, we're done for the day, let's run some fresh water through it and then dump that water to make sure it's clean inside for no reactions with different
So what we do is we add water into whatever residue is left in the tank, and we get that in suspension. That's called rinsate. And then we take that rinsate and we'll put it out on the crop in addition, just to keep it clean. And then we put in special chemicals that actually clean the tank and neutralize any of the chemicals.
Yeah. So, I'm guessing there's always that potential that you have chemicals that would react with each other if you hadn't done something like that.
Yeah, that is a potential. You have to be very much aware of that. So this is our T20P. This is kind of our Swiss Army knife of our operation. I showed you the T40 inside the van. The T40 is more geared for wide open spaces, no obstacles. And the T20P we have found to be probably the most efficient drone in our fleet. And the reason is because it only has 4 motors on it, and it's a little lighter, and it has a little less capacity than the other drones. And we seem to get multiple flights out of this drone without having to swap the battery. So the other thing is that when we're navigating around obstacles like trees or equipment or whatever, then it's a lot lighter platform. It doesn't use as much energy to do that, and we just find it a whole lot more efficient. It has the same kind of spraying system on it as the T40. They're identical. They have what's called rotary atomizers. So basically what these do allow us to change the droplet size on the fly. So if we have a windy situation and we need to make the largest droplet we can, then we can change this so that the droplets get bigger, make them heavier, and they fall faster. If we're doing a very no-wind situation and we have a product that we want to make sure we get a lot of coverage on, we can decrease the size of that droplet size and make it a lot more coverage, get a lot better coverage with it. But
so having a bigger drop because of the wind, you're not worried about, okay, I'm oversaturating the area or anything, or?
No. It's all proportional, and it's all done by the computer. It actually, once we calibrate the dome, we go through a complete calibration process and make sure everything is working lickety-split. Then once that's done, then the computer does all the calculations, and then after every flight we get a report that tells us how well it went. So yeah, that's important that we pay attention to those in case we have a clogged nozzle or something like that. That computer will actually tell us that.
So you're getting feedback from the
absolutely
the
telemetry. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's going straight in, or do you have to download it from?
Nope, it's right there in my hands with the controller.
Okay.
Yep, I can see it on the screen. It tells me after every flight, hey, you covered this amount of acreage. This is how much product you put out.
Okay, so it's not like, okay, we got to put it in a laptop so we can print it out or whatever.
No, it's all right there in the field, and that's one of the things that makes this technology so precise. And that's one of the things that we tout in our business is precision.
Yeah.
We're able to get product. Yeah, we're able to get product right where it needs to go at the right amount. And so the props that are on the machines are very important. Most people don't realize it. That each one of these are probably producing near 70-mile-an-hour vortices straight down. Depending on how fast you're going. If you're flying really fast and they kind of fold underneath it and come out the back, it sprays more like an airplane. When you're going at a slower speed, the air from the props are pushing the air in the spray mix right down into the crop, so you get a great deal of coverage as a result of that.
It also could counteract some of the wind, I guess.
Yes, yeah, and higher winds we fly slower. That's just always a thing. And we also add products to the mix sometimes that create a more thicker solution, so that the water droplets kind of stay together a little bit better, and they don't disperse as much. But again, our generator that we use to charge the batteries, and that's pretty much it.
So how many gallons of diesel do you usually carry on a day?
So this generator is pretty thirsty. When we're really hopping, it'll run for about 5 hours on a full tank.
Of course, you don't need to run it all the time anyway. So.
No, we don't. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'll go ahead and take this. And,
okay.
We've covered quite a lot. I can't see if you got any extra stuff that you missed, unless you do.
Well, I just want to say something about the industry in itself.
Okay.
We need Americans to step up. We need that opportunity to take note to what the Chinese have been able to accomplish with these drones, and develop our own technology here. And I ask that manufacturers that see this, they take it to heart and say, hey, people don't realize how big the ag sector is. Yeah. It's enormous, and it's a lot bigger than air taxis or imaging. It's huge, and it's very important, because you like to eat and I like to eat, right? So this is what's going on. And the other thing I'd like to say is that the manned aviation industry is a wonderful industry, and I hope that those people will adopt this technology, and we work together and making sure that we're applying chemicals safely together.
You want to complement each other, not feel like you have to compete against each other.
Yes, sir.
And I totally agree. But Hugh, thank you very much for being with us. I'm hoping you get some chances to look around the rest of Sun and Fun. So this is Brian Purdy with the Florida Aviation Network, live and in the clear. Day 3 of Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo 2024 at the Innovation Showcase in the Future in Flight Plaza. Have a great day. And good.